I grew up in a household without a lot of money. I remember as a kid wanting things that other kids had in school and always getting that speech from my mom that we were different than some other families and we just couldn't afford those things. And we always had a lot of love, and I love the family I grew up in, but it did create a curiosity in me to go, why is it that some people have a lot of money and some people don't? And what I want to share with you in this video is 3 different things that wealthy people spend money on that middle class or poor people do not, right? These are 3 things, 3 uses of money that rich people do consistently that other people do not. The first one is education. Wealthy people spend money on education. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean college, although, still to this day, the average incomes are higher in general for people who do go to college and graduate school and beyond. But the richest people I know, many of them never went to school, or they dropped out of college and they became entrepreneurs. But even those people invest heavily in their education. They invest in learning. They invest in coaching. They invest in books. They invest in personal development. I remember when I started as a professional speaker, I would always assume early in my career that everybody who was in the audience were the people who, were just beginning, and they were novice, and they needed to learn all the principles and fundamentals. And yet, both as a conference attendee and as a speaker, and now as someone who puts on events and trains and teaches other people how to monetize public events, I've noticed consistently that the people who go to conferences are usually the people who are already successful. The people sitting in the front row are usually the people who are the wealthiest of the entire room. And that is because of this pattern, this habit that wealthy people spend money on education because they know that education compresses time. Education shortens the learning curve. Education accelerates revenue. So I'd give you that question. Are you investing in your education? At least you're spending some time watching videos here on YouTube, but a question would be, do you actually spend your money? Would you be willing to invest the money you have to pay someone who is an expert in whatever the thing is that you're wanting to learn how to do, so that they could shorten your learning curve, so that they could accelerate your results and speed you up in your journey? That's something I've noticed that rich people do. The second thing that rich people spend money on that most people do not is employees. Employees. Rich people hire people. The reason why they are rich is because they have a lot of people. Now, a lot of times we think, oh, well, that it has a lot of people, so of course they would be rich. But actually, it's the opposite. It's the reason that person's rich is because they spend all their money hiring people. Look, we have started 6 different multi-million-dollar businesses, 2 8-figure businesses, and I will tell you, in every single occasion, the choices that we make was that we would pay ourselves last. We would invest money in hiring the best people we could afford, the best people we could find, so that they could help us multiply our time, so that they could help us take things off of our plate. We spend the first money we always spend is with our team. The first money we always spend is on hiring and raises. It's the number one asset, because we know that if we can hire more people, the people can get things done so that we don't have to, right? Or when we're not doing it. So, do you spend your money on hiring help and getting people to assist you in completing activities for your business, for your dreams? The third thing that I've noticed that rich people spend money on that maybe not everyone else does is experiences. Wealthy people spend money on experiences. They figure out pretty early that possessions don't really bring much lasting fulfillment. I mean, it's nice to have a few nice possessions, but because wealthy people tend to think long-term, they realize that at the end of their life, they're not just going to be counting up how much money they have in their account or what their possessions are. They're going to look back on the memories they had with their friends and their family and the communities that they were serving. And so they realize that when they die, all their money is just going to disappear and go to someone else. And so there's no real reason to store up a bunch of wealth just in case, and then to die with a whole bunch of money in your bank account that you've never used. And so I think one of the things that wealthy people do is they give themselves permission to invest in experiences. They realize that money is just a tool, and just like we're going to use it as a tool to acquire education and to bring people in to help, they're also going to use that money to create experiences for themselves and the people around them, to maximize the fruit that they get from their labor. And this is the play hard part, right? The education and the employees, that's the work hard part. But experiences is the play hard part. And I would tell you that if there's something worth investing money into, it's probably not a possession, right? Where most people spend their money is, if you give most people $1,000, they'll go out and they'll buy like, new clothes, or they'll put it towards a car, or they'll buy groceries, they'll buy stuff with it. But what I've noticed that wealthy people do is they will invest it into education, into team and staff, or they'll use it to create experiences and memories. And the more you do of the first two, the more money you'll have to do the third one. So just wanted to give you a little insight into what I have found to be a pretty consistent pattern in the mind of wealthy people. Now, if you want more of this, I created a free training called High Earner Habits, 7 Ways That Wealthy People Think and Live. Now, if you want that training, just click on the link down in the description below and I'll send it to you. Until next time, hit the subscribe button, stay plugged in here, and I hope that you'll invest your money on education, employees, and experiences.